Today, we'll visit the site of the world's largest necropolis, which also contains the largest group of megalithic sculptures in South America, ironically, with a beautiful landscape as a setting. Welcome to the archaeological park at San Agustin in southern Colombia. Welcome to SWELLER'S and DWELLER'S. When I come to these places, a lot of people seem to skip the on-site museum, but I find it's worthwhile to go to these at the beginning. I know you're anxious to visit the actual sites, but relax, this is worth it, because in the museum are all of the best artifacts they found on site. So by going there first, you can get a much better idea of how the sites looked in their original state and use your imagination to better recreate them when you actually arrive at them. Let's make our way down to the first site. Buenas.
Buenas, buenas.
Haha. The first area we come to is the Forest of Statues. It contains 39 statues that previously were scattered around the town of San Agustin. The archaeological park was formed to collect and conserve these statues. Some of the statues were buried inside of the burial mounds with the bodies, but others were placed above ground, and even today farmers sometimes discover them just underneath the soil as they're tending their fields. And indeed, the Forest of Statues does contain some of the most elaborate and spectacular statues in the area. Hundreds of statues like this one have been discovered in the area. When statues were buried with individuals, did it signify the person's status, or perhaps their role in society somehow? Many of them have their arms crossed on their chest, and often they are holding objects or animals. What was the significance of what they were holding? And why are they holding different items? The answers are still not obvious. It has been proposed that those statues holding animals honored shamans or those people with supernatural connections to nature. Let's make our way to visit Area A. Site A contains several funeral chambers, tombs, and temples, including two of the largest on site. In the front of this mound, we have the statues. And then, if we walk up and around to the back, here we see the entrance to the burial chamber underneath the mound. This area has been occupied from as early as 6000 BC, but the majority of the funeral chambers and statues were created between 1 AD and 900 AD, when the practice mysteriously stopped. Why did it stop? Well, we don't have the answers to these questions. Could it be that these peoples were conquered by others from nearby? Or did their values simply change? It is very complex to figure out. The search continues. Area B is the most elaborate in the area. It's the site of 3 funeral mounds that contained 63 statues and was in use in the classic period from 1 AD to 900 AD. Let's take a look. Here you can see the size and height of the artificial burial mounds. Within the burial mounds, the bodies were encased in stone coffins. As mentioned, the reasoning why such elaborate burials were done is still largely unknown. Was it a belief that it must be done to give a good afterlife for the individuals, or perhaps simply to honor them and their position in society? Let's make our way to Area C. The statues here contrast with those in the other areas because they are carved into flat rock and more flat in design, whereas in other areas they are more three-dimensional. Because they are less elaborate in this way, one might think that they are actually older and predate the other areas. But this in fact is not true. Carbon dating has placed them as being more recent. The funeral chambers here in San Agustin differ from those in Tierra Adentro, another famous site here in southern Colombia. Here the chambers were created in artificial mounds above the earth, where they then dug into them. In contrast, the chambers in Tierra Adentro were created high up on mountain ridge tops that were flattened and then dug into, and the chambers created under the earth. And in Tierra Adentro, you are allowed to descend down inside of them. For a look into that unique experience, after this video, you'll want to check out my video on Tierra Adentro. When you're walking in the park, watch out, the dog's on the stairs. They're trying to get their rest. Also, watch out for the pocket dogs. Let's now descend to the riverbed for the next site. Here, carved into the rock of the riverbed, reliefs of humans and animals playing in the water can be recognized. The complex array of canals and ponds, probably used in rituals and ceremonies. We have one final site to visit, but it's all uphill. Let's get to it. Inside the park, vendors sell packets of 20 sculptures for 10,000 Colombian pesos, or $4. Surely they are as ancient as the ones on display in the park. This site high up contains one burial mound, 5 statues, and 10 very small tombs, likely for children. And it also contains a spectacular view of the valley. Let's make some juice from sugarcane. Voila! It's always best to get up early and visit these sites as early as possible, because the parking lots fill up and then cars start stretching down the road. And from my experience, this is sound advice for sites anywhere in the world. Come on, get out of bed and get to it. And it looks like we found the Mazamorra tuk-tuk. Mazamorra is corn porridge, and in this case it's sweetened with your choice of treats mixed in. I'm gonna pass because it's lunchtime and I've got to head back to town to get some Menú del Día at one of the best restaurants for this I've found yet in Colombia. Only 10,000 pesos or $2. Let's go take a look. And then I can have dessert. We do have to walk 3 kilometers along the busy road to get there, so let's stay alert. And here we are, Restaurante Familiar and Comidas Rápidas. As usual, first course, let's start with some soup. This, I think, is called La Plata. It is super thick and kind of beefy. It's like beef stew. The main course is here. Let's not waste time. Let's dig in. I'm starving. We got some chicken, mixed vegetables, yuca, rice, salad, and some plantain. Correction, that's not yuca. It is some kind of cornbread, and it's delicious. And this juice, it ain't out of no package. And for dessert, I have an ice cream cone for 2,000 pesos, or 40 cents. I have no idea what kind it is. Does it matter? Next time on Sweller Van Dweller. Looks like I found a travel partner. How long are you going to stick with me? Oh yeah, probably until you just find your friends or something. Don't know what the hell that was. Oh my god. I can hear a massive amount of bees somewhere. If you enjoyed that video, then you should watch this one next. And if you've seen that one, well then you should watch this one. And if you've watched them both, well then, you're one of my top subscribers, and I appreciate you so much. I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.